Okay, cool. Now that we have a better understanding of sessions, we're going to go ahead and create our cart model. So in here, I'm going to say class cart, and it's going to be models.model. And well, there's a few different ways on how I can go about creating a cart. Initially, what I'm going to do is actually just add something called products, right? So I want a product item there, and then I'm just going to write out total. So like the price of these items. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do for now. There will be more advanced things for this, like variations, checkout, or like a subtotal and a discount. All of those sorts of things are things that we can add to make this better. But I just want to really quickly and more effectively understand this concept of carts before we get into the nitty-gritty of more advanced sort of things. So the other part of this would be like a user. So we would do models dot something called foreign key. We haven't really gone over this too much, but we'll talk about it here and just quickly. And then we'll do also models dot many to many field. We have seen this before, but again, if you don't have full understanding of it, stay with us. We will cover foreign keys and many to many fields in the future, so you can have a much better understanding of that. Or if you already know it by now, then that's great. The next thing is a total. So like the actual price total, we'll say decimal field here. And that's it. So I've got my foreign key and my product. So I actually have to import the related models that are going to be going off of this. So the first one is the user model. We have to get that from our settings. So we'll do from django.conf import settings. And we say user equals to settings.auth, all caps, user model. You have to do it just like that. Otherwise, errors will occur because, of course, this is going off of that user model that is in settings, right? So this is going off of this user model. Or if you ever customize your user model, it would go off of that as well. So this is the way to do it, is the point of that. So we put that here. Now, in the last one, we were talking about how sessions can be for a logged in user or a not logged in user, as in unauthenticated or authenticated. So we want to make sure that we can have this being null equals to true and blank equals to true. I want to make sure that any user can create a cart. That's basically the point. The next thing I want to do is bring in my product model. So from products.models, import product. Okay, so that's the product model itself. And I want to have the ability to have a blank cart. So I'll say blank equals to true. Okay. I do actually want a timestamp. So I want to know when this cart was created. So we'll do models and we'll say date time field auto now add equals to true. I also want to know when it was most recently updated. So just copying the timestamp and we'll just change this to being updated. And then all you have to do here is auto now equaling to true. Total decimal field, we'll say the default equals to 0.00. And we'll do max digits equals to, let's say, 100. It's probably really high, but anyway. And then we'll do decimal places equals to 2. Okay, so we now have our cart model. So let's go ahead and create an str function. I'll just do define str, take in self, and we're just going to return the string of self.id. So just the ID of the cart. That's pretty much it. Okay, so we've got that. We want to make sure cart is inside of our installed apps. And now that we've got our models.py, let's go ahead and run our make migration. So Python manage.py, make migrations. Oops, we got setting is not defined. That should be settings. Sorry about that. That is the actual right way to do it. Let's try it again. And let's go ahead and migrate. Cool. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add this into the admin. So we'll do from.models, import cart, and then admin.site.register cart. Okay, and then I also want to do it inside of my view. So we already talked about how we can set this cart ID in here, but we also want to talk about how to get it. So the first thing that I would do inside of this cart home is I want to check to make sure that this cart ID doesn't already exist, right? So if I already have a cart, I don't want to create a new cart. That's essentially what I'm saying here. So the first thing is we'll say cart ID. We're going to set a new variable, as in cart ID equaling to request.session.get cart ID. Otherwise, we'll set it to its default of none, right? So this is basically saying, hey, get the current cart ID or say none. And we'll just say if cart ID is none, then we're going to do pass for now, but we'll have to do print, get new cart ID or create new cart. Not get new, but create new cart. Create view cart. Okay. And then in there, that is where we would actually set it, right? So after we created that new cart, we would set it. So I don't need to pass that anymore. And that's virtually what we'll be doing, right? And then otherwise, right? So if we said else in here, we would basically say cart exists, or rather cart ID exists. So we'll probably have to do some other checks in here as well. So one of those things being like and cart ID, is instance, and we would say cart ID and integer, right? So is instance allows us to compare between those two things, right? With Python. So you want to make sure the object is the type of that class. But that's going to take some conversions and whatnot. So I'm going to leave that out for now too. We'll probably come back to that because we do want that to be the case. I want to make sure that whatever's coming through here is an integer, and that way I can, check to make sure that quite a few things actually. So now that we've got this, we've pretty much set up the basis for going forward. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and then let's go ahead and look in our cart again. And now it should actually print things out for us. So if I refresh in here, I see that I have cart ID exists. And if I print something out in my other browser, I think that I'll probably not have a cart already exist. So I printed it out, went there, and it says create new cart. Okay, so it's just showing me generally how the users would go about doing this, right? So how we would logically build this thing out. So that's something we still have to do, and we'll do that in the next one. Stay with us.